Sherelle Higgins. Let's Get Into It is a safe space to have real conversations that are meant to uplift, encourage, and let you know you are not the only one dealing with life. Each episode of Let's Get Into It is designed to provide illuminating and thought-provoking information on a variety of topics. In fact, no topic is off limit. If you would like to see a topic discussed, please feel free to make a recommendation. My special guest and I will have a great time discussing topics that the mainstream media wouldn't dare discuss. We will bring these conversations to you with an open mind, respectfully, from different perspectives, and most importantly, with love. Thank you for joining me and my special guest. Now, let's get into it. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Let's Get Into It. Thank you for joining me today. It is going to be a great show. As you all know, I'm always excited about doing these shows, and I am especially excited today because today, I'm going to have four people join me on the screen here shortly. I was thinking about what I should do for a show today, and with all of the excitement around the women's college basketball, the upcoming season of the WNBA, the NBA tournament happening, I said, well, I might as well have some ballers on my show. And so I am so fortunate to be able to connect with these ballers and have them share with you their journeys, how they were able to pivot from one thing to the next, and why they are such great ballers. And so let me just go ahead and jump right into it. First up, I'd like to introduce to you Morgan Kelson. Oops, sorry about that, wrong button. Morgan is from Charlotte, North Carolina. She started her collegiate basketball career at the first and I mean as the at the oldest and first HBCU in North Carolina, and that's Claflin University. And then Morgan, after playing for 2 years, she pivoted and she decided to take her talents to another HBCU, where she currently plays at Livingston College. And no, we're not going to hold it against her that she didn't choose Virginia State University, but that's okay. She has it in her blood. Um, Morgan is a forward, and Morgan was all conference for 4 years. And so, welcome, Morgan.
Thank you.
And next, I am going to introduce you to Kyle Washington. Kyle is from Atlanta, Georgia. He started at Graceland University and pivoted to Waldorf University in Iowa. And yes, Iowa. He was there. And so you know who's from Iowa. That's all we're hearing about these days. Yes, congratulations to Caitlin Clark. He's a point guard. He was a point guard, and he was the North Star Atlantic Association Player of the Week. So when I tell you that these ballers, they have accolades, and I am so excited to have them on my show. Welcome, Kyle.
Hey, how you doing? Appreciate you.
Good. And next, I am going to bring up Noah Gurley. Noah is from Fayetteville, Georgia, right outside of Atlanta. He started his collegiate career at Furman University in Greensville, South Carolina. And Noah pivoted and went to Alabama University. Roll Tide. Noah is a forward. He was the 2021 Southern Conference All Tournament first team, and he is currently playing international basketball, professional basketball, I should say, in Croatia. So Noah is joining us from Croatia. Welcome, Noah.
Thank you. I'm glad to be on here.
And last but certainly not least, I am going to bring to the stage Marquita Woods. Marquita Woods is her married name. Many people might know her as Marquita Aldrich. Marquita is from Detroit, Michigan. She was Miss Basketball for the state of Michigan. She was inducted into the High School Hall of Fame in Detroit. She went to UNC Charlotte. She was a shooting guard. She played for the WNBA. She was on the Washington Mystics team, and she was the first woman and former WNBA player appointed to the finance committee of the National Retired Players Association. And a fun fact about Marquita is she was in Joanna Man. So if you haven't seen that movie, go check it out. And she is currently, because she's older than the rest of the panel, so she's been adulting for a while. She is currently a mortgage loan officer, so she's had to pivot many times throughout her life as well. So again, I want to welcome all of my guests to the show. So here's what I want to do. I'm gonna start with some softball questions for you all, and I'm gonna ask each of you all to answer this question. What was your major, and if you have already graduated, what your degree is in? I'll start with Morgan.
My current major is sports management with a minor in business administration.
Wonderful. Kyle.
Same thing. I just graduated with sports management and minor in business as well. And I'm currently working on my master's. Yeah.
Oh, cool. And Noah.
I got my undergrad in business administration, and then I got my master's in sports hospitality, which is like just sports business, basically.
Okay. And Marquita.
I got my bachelor's degree in financial management.
And the reason why I wanted to ask that question is because a lot of times we see athletes that do not finish and graduate from college. They go on to whatever is the next thing. And so it is so important for us to highlight education as part of being a student athlete. And so I'm going to ask Morgan, as a student athlete, why is it important to you to lean into the student part?
Well, if you don't have the grades, then you can't play. And that goes for every level. It doesn't matter what level you go to. If you don't have a certain GPA, you can't get on the court. But at some point, the ball is going to stop bouncing just because of age, injuries. Some reason the ball is going to stop bouncing eventually, and then it's going to be like, okay, what's next? So that's why it's important to me to focus on my studies.
Okay, that's a great answer. At some point, the ball is going to stop bouncing. Kyle, why was being a student important to you while you were playing?
It was very important to me, just off the fact that playing basketball was my motivation for everything. And to be honest, I did not like school. I didn't love it at all growing up, but I understood that I needed that to be able to do what I love. And so if I'm gonna do it, I might as well, go all the way in with it and get the most out of it. And so, like Morgan said, it's eventually basketball is going to end. And like even if you play professionally or whatever, say like you're done at like 30, I mean, that you might be like old considered like the basketball world, but you're still young in the real world. So you still gotta have your whole life after that. So getting that degree and getting that education is definitely very important once you're done playing.
Okay, and Noah.
I say discipline. You can't compartmentalize life. If I get my all on the court, I got to do the same off the court. So, if I get in good grades, that means I'm focusing on other areas in basketball, and it makes it easier for me to focus on the court too. Just building habits.
Okay, and Marquita.
Well, I will be the prime example of the ball stop bouncing, right? So it definitely did stop bouncing, and it stopped bouncing abruptly. So yeah, I did. I was one of the ones that made it to the pros. But statistically, 90% of the players are not going to go pro. So being a student first is extremely important. And like I said, the ball abruptly stopped bouncing for me, even though I did make it to the pros in the WNBA, and I needed to pivot very quickly. So I was glad that I had a degree to fall back on. And many of the things that I learned on the court apply to the classroom, which then applied to business in this new life that I'm in now.
Okay. So I want to take you all back to your childhood. And
Okay,
so I'm going to ask you first, Marquita. How did
sure.
you start playing basketball?
That is a very excellent question. So I grew up in Detroit. My mom was raising me as a single parent. So in the summer, at the end of the day, I used to have to hang out with my cousin. They would play basketball. I played basketball. They had a contest at school who could shoot the most free throws. I made more free throws than the boy in this contest. And that was like in the fifth grade. And the rest of it is pretty much history. I was like, I think I might be kind of good at this.
Okay. And Noah.
Where I'm from, it's like a small town, but everybody know each other, so we all knew each other through athletics. I mean, I played a lot of sports growing up: baseball, football. I didn't even try soccer for real, but I had migraines, so I had to stop playing football. And baseball was kind of just too slow for me, and I ended up being tall. So I think like after my 8th grade year, that's when I really started focusing on basketball.
You said you ended up being tall. How tall are you?
They say,
6'8"?
yeah.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Okay. And Kyle.
So just growing up in Atlanta and everything, and just playing everything. Baseball, football was actually my main sport, but just going around the neighborhood and in the backyard playing with all my friends and everything after school, middle school, elementary school, and then it just took over by about high school. I just ended up liking it more, loving it more, and then I just took that passion and went on with it.
Okay. And Morgan.
I started playing basketball in seventh grade to stay in shape for softball. And then eighth grade came around. I was like, okay, I'm actually not that bad at it. Let me try to take it further. And then it came time where financially I had to pick one. And for like time purposes, I had to pick one. And I just decided to pick basketball.
Okay. All right. So one of the things I noticed neither one of you all said when I asked the question about what made you lean into being a student, nobody said my parents wasn't having it any other way. And I know all y'all parents. Okay.
Well, that
So
was just like a given. You ain't even have to say it,
Yeah,
right?
well, that might be a
thank
given for
you.
us, but it might not be a given to our audience.
Yeah, layup.
So I'm gonna start with you, Kyle. What advice has a coach given you that you will always remember?
I say probably my one of my assistant coaches in high school. He just told me don't be ashamed of being yourself. Just be who you are and embrace it. And you know everything isn't gonna be perfect. On the first try, or whatever. It's gonna be some bumps in the road. You just gotta know that there's gonna be bumps in the road that come with it. So just be prepared for it and don't be shocked when it happens. And just keep being yourself. Somebody's gonna like
Oh, I love that. Somebody
you.
gonna like it, and everybody
Somebody.
don't have to.
Yeah.
What advice were you given by a coach that you'll always remember?
I say the game is more mental than physical. There's a lot of people out there that can do all the right movements on the court, but it's a lot more thinking that go into basketball that's important. So when I got to college, I had to learn about how important film was and just really studying the game and growing my knowledge in it.
Okay, Marquita.
So I remember coach telling me that, hard work will out trump talent,
Mhm.
especially when talent doesn't work hard. And that stuck with me because although I did achieve a lot of things, I never really did think I was the most talented. I just felt like I outworked everybody. So that was something that still applies today.
Okay, and Morgan.
I would say mine is kind of the same. I had a coach tell me that nobody can coach my effort, and so I feel like in a lot of spaces I'm somewhat less talented than some of the other people on the court, but no one's going to take away my effort. Like you're not going to have it.
I love that too. Yes. So how important is it to be a leader in the locker room? Marquita, I'll start with you on that one.
It's extremely important, and these are the things though that don't show up on the actual stat sheet. Being an actual leader and having cohesiveness. You hear coaches or interviews, and they'll say, "Hey, that person's a good locker room guy," and that's based on just leadership. So the points might not be there, but having somebody that's going to lead and be positive it's very important, because at the end of the day, the coach can coach, but it's the players that's going to have to play the game and really have to have the cohesiveness and work together. So I would say it's very, very, very important to be a leader when you're playing sports.
What about you, Morgan?
So I've been on 2 different college teams. I played for 2 different high schools. And I would say on all the teams I played for, eventually I stepped into a leadership role. And to me, it's just super important for off the court. Just as important as it is off the court, it's important like on the court. When it comes to background stuff, the younger players are going to look up to me. Even some of the older players, once they see how you move, they're like, "Oh, okay, we need to get on board." And good leadership ultimately can lead you to like a championship.
Okay, Noah.
If you're not leading, you following. So
Mm,
that kind of always was a motto. And then my last year at Bama, I had to step up and be a leader. We had a younger team, a lot of younger dudes. So you can't conform to the ways of like what's going on. You got to know the right path. And once you get on it, you look behind and other people on the same path, and it's a good feeling. So show you that you're doing something right.
okay, Kyle.
Uh, I found in my because I was in a leadership role my last few years of school, and I found that it's leadership can come in different ways. It's not how everybody thinks of it. Everybody you think of a leader as the rah rah guy, yelling whatever, but it can come in other ways. It's certain like leading by example, or just the person that you see going to class every day, getting his schoolwork. He's never not. He's always eligible. He's always in the gym early, later. Being that older guy, seeing that the younger kids can, or the younger players, they could look up to and follow that model of and how to be successful in college and manage everything. So I think that'll be the biggest thing I take away from it. That you don't got to be the most vocal person, and then the leader also isn't always your best player either. So it could come in different forms.
Oh, absolutely. So Noah, how do you think basketball helped shape who you are today?
I think it put me on a little accelerated path of life because you gotta endure things. And basketball, you gotta be disciplined. And basketball teach you how to be around others, communicate well, uh, work well with others. So it teaches a lot of life lessons within the game. So I think it's one of the better sports out there because so much to learn from it. Like I said, I think it's made me a better person. Obviously, having so many coaches over the years, they just help me personally and on and off the court. So
Okay, Kyle.
Uh, I say it's giving me a jump start as well. I pretty much used the game. I didn't let it use me. I didn't think I'd ever go to college if I wasn't playing a sport. To be honest, I didn't want my mom or whatever paying for school or anything. So if I wasn't going for free, I didn't want to go. So, but I was able and afforded that opportunity, so I made the best of it. And it's allowed me to get my undergrad degree and work towards my master's after that. And I would just say, basketball, it builds a lot of relationships, a lot of character, and the people you meet within the game, and the places I've been to because of the game that I've seen that I never thought I'd see. And it's just been a great experience.
Okay, Morgan.
I think that basketball is after I taught basketball to some kids during the summer, I realized like how much it teaches you about life. And I think that it just translates to life very well off the court, as far as being in tough situations, times running out, or just being able to play the game that you love. It teaches you so many lessons. It gives you so many opportunities. For example, this right here, um, it just provides a lot of opportunities that you might not see if you weren't playing basketball.
And Marquita.
I mean, basketball is my first love. So just think about your first love, right? So it's everything as far as I'm concerned. And I'm not having this conversation today if I wasn't playing basketball. So I still lean into it, even though like I'm their senior probably twice, but I still give all of the credit to, I say it all the time, that basketball saved my life. And it's continuing to, just by still being able to share about the game and talk about the past, and like I said, talk to kids or whatever it is. So yeah, basketball, my first love. We still in love.
Hey, I'm still with my first love, so I know exactly what you're talking
Hey,
about.
and here we go, pivot. Yes.
Yes. So, Kyle, how did you stay motivated after losing the game?
Uh, that it was, you could take something away from everything. It's always changes that can be made. It's always gonna be for that season. Obviously, if it's not your last game, there's gonna be another game to follow. So you just go back and look at the film and look at certain things you could have did better, and understand when you in that position again 2 days from now, whatever the case might be, that you can fix those, and as a team you can fix those, and you'll probably have a different outcome.
Okay, I'm gonna ask you next, Noah, since you lost last night.
Oh,
Uh, I say it leave a bad feeling in your body. So the only way to get it out sometimes is to get up and work the next day. But like Kyle said, regardless, you're gonna have another game coming up, whether you won or lost. So you can't really get lost in the results of the game. Like I say, it's all about this. You got to get up and work the same way, whether you lost or you won. And, that's when you start getting to a different level.
Okay, Morgan.
I think that losses are tough. It doesn't matter if you're really a competitor. A loss is going to affect you, regardless if y'all lost by 30 or if y'all lost by 3. To me, after a loss, if it's not my last game, of course I'm looking for what I can do better in the next game. But for instance, we lost in the tournament. We lost first round of the tournament, and it's been on my mind since we lost. Literally, like I can't wait till next season, because it's probably gonna be my last season playing. So I just try to play every game like it is my last game, because you never know if you're gonna get injured. You never know what could happen. So
Okay, Marquita.
so in retrospect, I think at the time when you lose, like I said, you're a competitor, so you just want to learn from it and get back out there. But if I really, really reflect on it, we learn more in our losses than we actually did with the wins. So now I appreciate taking those L's, because it taught us how to bounce back, be resilient, pivot, and the situation that made you lose the game more than likely is going to come up again in a game, but now you got a different way to go. And you might not have seen that if y'all won the game and you still did it wrong, but y'all won, you don't know that. But when you take the L, it makes you stop, look, reflect, and then go a different route. So in retrospect, I appreciate the losses now, but I ain't gonna lie, I was mad. I would be mad when we lost. I'll just leave it at that.
And we don't always win in life, right? And so
Exactly.
it's and playing a sport is it prepares you for that you're not always going to win in life, but you can't allow the losses to define how you move forward in life. So I love that. Let's see. Sharon says, oh, let me go back to this. Devion says, I imagine being an athlete has a lot of mental health benefits. What do you all think about that?
So mental
Um,
health
Morgan?
benefits.
Uh-huh.
I
So
say,
for example,
agree.
okay, no, go ahead, Noah.
Yeah, I agree. I think, like I say, the game more mental. When I came into college, I was a hothead. Now I'm a really calm guy because you can't be out on the court being a hothead. So it made my mental better in that one. Taught me about patience. It taught me about everything that's not physical. Every mental quality.
Okay, Morgan.
I think that it goes both ways. Like, I know for one team that I played on before, it was extremely mentally draining, and to a point where I was like, okay, I need to get off of this team and play somewhere else. But where I'm at now, it's like, oh, okay, I want to go to practice. I want to go to the weight room. I want to get extra shots up because it's mind clearing, and I feel like my team accepts me, and it's better for my mental health. So I think it can go both ways.
I agree. I lost Noah, but I'm sure he's going to jump back in. Marquita, what do you think about that?
No, I have to agree 100% with Morgan. It definitely can go both ways. However, I think in the end you end up mentally stronger because you do have to deal with the good and the bad of it and kind of rise above. And then when you're able to take that, we all say a lot of stuff is about mindset, mind state, mindset. So definitely playing ball has helped with the mentality and having to rise above, whether it's good or bad.
Okay. And Sharon's question is, did the three younger panelists play against each other? I don't think so. I think there's an age difference there, right, Noah and Kyle?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Okay.
a little
And
bit.
were you all familiar with each other, being from the same area?
Nah, not
So
personally, but
real big.
but yeah, I watched the. I'm a Georgia fan of everything, but I like Nate Oates and what they do over there at Bama. So I used to watch them a lot. So you know, a couple of, but yeah, I for sure knew about him.
Okay. And Morgan, do you have any aspirations to go to the pro level?
Um, no, not really.
Okay. I love you. Hey, you already said at some point the basketball is going to stop.
Yeah, I'm kind of just trying to get my degree, and then after that, I'll be done. I do have aspirations to coach, so I think I'll be a better coach than I will ever be a player.
Oh, okay. Well, Don Staley is a great example to look up to. And so, speaking of that, when you all were younger and decided to play basketball, who's the player that you looked up to and tried to model your game behind? Marquita.
I'll answer. I mean, I thought I was Magic Johnson. I mean, I was like, y'all need to call me Lady Magic. And part of that is we didn't have the females playing and have the exposure. I mean, basketball didn't come into America until 1996, right? So I'm on here telling my age about that time. But Magic Johnson was my guy because he went to Michigan State. I'm from Detroit. It's a Michigan thing. I was a tall guard, and I just love the showtime, the smile, the razzle dazzle. So to this day, that's number 32, still my favorite player. But I love it that the young ladies have somebody that they can say they want to be now that is a female as well. So it's awesome.
Okay, what about you, Morgan?
I know this is gonna sound crazy, but when I first started watching basketball, like actually watching it, I wanted to be like Draymond Green just because.
You wanted to choke him out?
No. Like how he affected the game without being the leading scorer, without Draymond kind of does the little things that really help his team win. He's really a great communicator. If you really watch the game, he's a really good communicator, and he does things that aren't in the stats book. Besides like the technical fouls and all that craziness, but like when he was actually playing basketball, he was really good at being like the X factor, and that was what I wanted to be for my team because I wasn't the best shooter, I wasn't the best passer, but I was going to set that screen. I was going to get you open. I was going to get that extra rebound. So that was kind of who I looked up to. And then I also looked up to my brother just because he was really good. And I was like, I want to be better than him. So.
Okay, what about you, Kyle?
I'll say when I was younger, it'd probably be Rajon Rondo. He was like do it all point guard, kind of how I play now. Just fill up the stat sheet, do a little bit of everything. Points, rebounds, assists, steals. One of the better defensive players. Always just active around the game, and then now I would it transitioned over to like D'Angelo Russell. Because I'm left-handed, so I used to watch a lot of other left-handed point guards. Who could affect the game and see what they do offensively and things like that. So try to find somebody realistically that you could play like. I can't be 6'9", 250 like LeBron James. So you kind of gotta see just mimic your game, I guess, with the more realistic expectations. So that's why I always Rondo and how he affected the game with everything.
Okay. What about you, Noah?
I would say Carmelo Anthony. When I was younger, I was trying to get as many buckets as I could. That's all I cared about. So he one of the youngest scorers at like 20K or so. So he catch the ball in the mid post and just shoot it. He don't even dribble. So I was like, all right, that's what I'm trying to be on.
Okay, so what's the significance? I know Marquita mentioned this, but I'm going to ask the question now. But what's the significance of your jersey number, Marquita?
I mean, I wanted to be Magic, so I was like, I need 32 everywhere I go. Then one year, my first year in college, it was a what is it called? The upperclassman actually had 32. And I was like, y'all needed to tell me that before I even signed here. So you mean to tell me I can't wear 32? So I was kind of upset. I ended up having to take 21 for one year, but it was all good because that was my man Steve Smith, which these youngers don't even know who that is. Go ahead and look him up though. Steve Smith. He played.
I
Y'all
know.
know if y'all from Atlanta.
Yeah, I
Y'all
know. Yeah, yeah, I already know. I
yeah, so
already
he
know.
played for the Hawks. So I had to wear
Yeah.
21 one year, but it was 32 because I wanted to be Magic.
Okay. What about you, Noah?
I wear number 4. That was my dad's frat number. And then my family is 4 of us. It's me, my mom, dad, sister. And I've been wearing it since senior year of high school. So it's just a lucky number at this point.
Okay. What about you, Kyle?
Well, I loved the number 7 because my favorite player, my favorite athlete growing up was Mike Vick. He still is, but obviously in basketball, once you get to a certain age, like they ban any numbers like over like 6, 7, 8, 9. So it got to be like 1 through 5. So when I got to high school, I just strictly went with number 1, and it really wasn't no meaning to it. I guess that was my just second favorite number, so I just rocked out with 1 all the way my whole career in high school and in college up until this last year, my last 2 years at Waldorf. I had to switch over to 11 because 1 wasn't available at the time, so we went with the just the double 1.
Okay. And Morgan?
Yeah.
Um, when I first started playing basketball, I used to wear number 13 because it's like known for being unlucky or just a like Friday the 13th type of thing, like it was a bad thing. And my parents taught me not to believe in luck because you have God. So I always wore 13 until last year when I crossed Delta Sigma Theta, and I was number 30 on my line. So I changed my number in basketball to 30.
Okay. Shout out to the sororities and fraternities. I see Noah is rocking his Kappa sweatshirt. So, what tip would you give a young person who's thinking about playing basketball and want to reach the level that you have reached? Let's go with Kyle.
I would just tell them, keep the main thing the main thing. Understand that you gotta you can't have 1 foot in 1 foot out. You gotta put your all into whatever you're doing, and especially in basketball, it's we threw out the percentage of what makes the pros, and there's another certain percentage that even just get to play any level of college. So you gotta be on your game, but if you do it, put your all into it because the game definitely comes with its rewards, and it rewards the people who don't cheat the game. So that's what I would tell them for sure.
Okay, Morgan, what would you tell the little girls?
I would just tell them that it's really a business once you get to this level, and it's going to be a lot of things that deter you, whether it's coaches, scholarship money, um, crazy practice times. I know my freshman year we were practicing at 4:30, and that shied a lot of people from the game. So I would just say, if you got to stick to your love of the game. Like you got to focus on your love for the game. Because once you get to this level, a lot of outside things are going to come in. Politics is going to come in. What division you're at, all that stuff is going to come into play. But ultimately, I think the love of the game is what helps me stick around and continue to play.
Okay, Noah.
I say 2 things. Firstly, just day by day, try to get 1% better. If you try to look too far ahead, You know, you're not gonna progress as fast as you can each day. And then secondly, just know the commitment level it take. You know, especially like she said, when you get to college, it gets to a whole different level. If you're not in class, you're in practice. If you're not in practice, you're working out. If you ain't working out, you're lifting weights. If you're not lifting weights, you're doing homework. So, you know, everybody else gonna live a different type of lifestyle, but you got to be ready to sacrifice. That's one of the big things I learned. I forgot to mention that, sacrifice. So
Can I
Okay.
add one more thing?
Yes, absolutely.
I will also say, when I was talking about the division, I know like I work in summer camp, so I talk to a lot of kids all the time, but I always tell them that not to get caught up in the division because like, I know I was a little hurt that I didn't get any D1 offers and I went Division 2, but there's comp everywhere and God is not going to place you somewhere where you're not supposed to be. So just not to get caught up in the division or the level because it's really good competition everywhere.
Oh, that is awesome. Don't get caught up. Marquita.
Wow. What was the question? I got caught up in the answers.
What tip would you give a young lady who is thinking about playing basketball?
I mean, they said so many other things. And I really was like shaking my head hard about the politics. And I don't want to sugarcoat it. It's going to be tough. If you want to go to the next level, you really do have to put blinders on. You have to be very focused. The main thing has to be the main thing. Yeah, I mean, basketball and you, that's pretty much everything else is besides school itself is going to be secondhand. But the beauty of it is, you know that if you do go through the process, that there are rewards on the other side. Like she said, college, D1, D2, now the WNBA overseas. So I feel like it's worth it. But it really is a commitment where you have to have blinders on. Is you a ball? That's it.
Okay, so let me ask this question. When you all were coming out of high school, how did you choose the college that you went to? Marquita.
Gosh, I need to go ahead and be truthful, huh?
Be truthful.
So I chose UNC Charlotte because when I went on my visit, we kicked it the hardest and we had the most fun. And they understood. They was like, okay, the young lady coming from Detroit, we're not gonna take her to get yogurt. We going to all of the parties, we kicking it. I'm 18 away from home. So I chose it based on that. And part two, seriously, part two was that the head coach was a black male. And for me, I wanted to, I was recruited very highly to go to some very big schools with very famous coaches, but I just still felt like I needed to, if I was going to be away from my family for the first time, that I wanted to go where there was like almost like a father figure. So that was kind of part two. So,
Okay.
I had a great time on the visit and the coach was, a black male and that resonated with me.
Okay. What about you, Noah?
Well, before I started playing my senior year, I had two offers. One was D2, University of Tampa, and the other was Furman. And, I knew I wanted to commit before I played my senior year just so I could play free, not worrying about where I was going to go. And I went on the Furman visit, and they really good academic school. And me and my family, we prayed on it. We we don't think we should let this opportunity pass up. So I definitely went to Furman, and I don't have any regrets. And then Alabama, I got in the transfer portal, but it was during COVID. So I couldn't take any visits to all the schools that were recruiting me. So Alabama, we had played them twice at Furman. So I've been on campus. I've been in the gym, seen all the facilities and everything. So I felt real comfortable committing there.
And so, Noah, I know when you went in the transfer portal through my research, you were a lot of other schools were looking at you. Can you share some of those schools with us?
Oh yeah, my top schools. Florida was looking heavy. Auburn was looking heavy. Almost went to San Diego State. Almost went to Marquette.
Duke.
North, yeah, Duke. Duke wouldn't accept my transfer credits, even though they sister schools. So they was like I had to graduate first and then go, but I still needed 2 more classes, so I couldn't go to Duke. But North Carolina hit me up late. Tennessee, just mainly all the schools in the South, Miami. So that was a hard decision. Like I said, that was a lot. That was a lot more prayer, family time, just really trying to figure out what the plan was. But like I said, it was COVID, so you know everything happens for a reason. I think I had somewhere to go, you know, that I had been to before. So
Okay, Marquita, you want to
So
jump?
yeah, so Noah, I know it was COVID, but what made you want to even enter the transfer portal? Was it an extra year or was it just more exposure? Like, what made you do that? Like, I wish we had a transfer portal, but anyway.
oh yeah, nah, it was a mix of things because I redshirted my first year, and
Okay.
then COVID happened, so I got 2 extra years. Um, Firstly, like Furman didn't have a master's program for anything in business, so
Okay.
you know, as she said this, I mentioned this. My mom, she was like, "Well, you're not going to go to college for 6 years and not get no master's eventually." So regardless, I was going to get out of there. But a change of environment, you know, I love Furman. You know, it was a unique experience. You know, it's like a private small white school. So, you know, I've been there 4 years. I think I got what I needed out of it. So I needed a complete change. And then more exposure. I wanted to play better competition. You know, I firmly believe if I would have kept playing in the league, I would, you know, probably would got like player of the year or something like that, which would have been cool. But there's danger in complacency. So I feel like I had to make myself really comfortable. So I had to go up, opportunity to go up to the you know, highest level. And like I said, it helped me out tremendously because it was a whole side to the game that I wasn't even familiar with. But my 2 years, I learned a lot at Bama.
Danger and complacency. I think a lot of older adults can take something from that statement. I talk to people a lot about that. Just don't get complacent. You know, a lot of times when we enter into the workplace, we get complacent and we think that, you know, because of the money that they paying us, that we have to stay there and be loyal to the organization. But those organizations are never loyal to us. And so when we become complacent, we really put ourselves at a disadvantage. And so it's important to pivot. So I'm going to pivot to Morgan.
So my dad went to Virginia State, and I have been
What's up,
going to
Virginia State? Oh, okay. Sorry.
I have been going to homecoming with him since as long as I can remember. And so from the jump, when I first entered high school, I knew I wanted to go to HBCU for college. Like that was I was putting my foot down. I was going to HBCU no matter what. When senior year came around, I had been in contact with several schools, but COVID hit my senior year, so I only visited two schools, and that was North Greenville University and Claflin University. And honestly, I just felt like I couldn't commit to a school that I had never seen before. So I ended up choosing Claflin because they were consistent. They stayed coming to my games and checking up on me. And again, I didn't want to go to a school that I hadn't visited before. And my heart was set on VSU, but they didn't want me. So it was clear to me that that's not what God had in plan for me. So I went to Claflin, and then I also entered the transfer portal after being there for 3 years. My first year, we didn't play COVID because of COVID. So and again, I knew that I wanted to stay in the HBCU atmosphere. Um, but it came down to a PWI, but it was in Alabama. And I live in Charlotte, and Livingstone is right in Salisbury. So it's like I get to play my old school twice a year, and my parents can see every game. I can go home on the weekends. It's mad close to home. So
Okay, Kyle.
With me, well, I've been to 3 different schools. So, coming out of prep school out of Beckley Prep in West Virginia, I guess you could say my senior year, I had a few offers, but I ended up going with KCU down in Kentucky just because you know, it just felt like, you know, my visit and everything just felt like home and all that. So then after my 2 years there, I was coming off all conference year for second team. I won like defense player of the year. So, and it was that COVID year, so it gave us an extra year. So I ended up looking to transfer, and then I had a couple like low D1s wanted me to go there and everything, but I ended up following one of my assistant coaches who I had a great relationship with, and who helped get me to, you know, the player that I was at that point, and really now. And so I ended up following him to Graceland University in Iowa. And so after that 1 year, I ended up leaving again because that whole staff at Graceland ended up leaving. So, but it was a good fit and everything. And then once going in, I ended up transferring to Waldorf University because it was just all about the fit. It was just a great fit, and I never really cared about the levels or whatever. I was just going where I was just gonna go wherever the best fit was for me, where I could get off. To be honest, do what I had to do, and nail. Whatever happens, happens. And so that's also what I would tell other kids. Like Morgan said, and everybody. You know, can't play like University of Alabama, like knowing everything. So after that, when you get to the mid major, low major D2s and all that, it's just about fit, and that's the difference between everybody. And so I was able to, for the last 2 years at Waldorf, I was all conference both years in the conference, all defensive team and everything. So it was a great fit for me. So that's how I ended up out here at in Iowa, really, because I didn't really care too much where I was, as long as it was free and the system, the offensive system like that we were running best fit my abilities. That's basically how I chose where I'm at.
Yes, fit is always important. And even when you go into the workplace, which, Marquita has been in for a while, and Morgan and Kyle and Noah, at some point, you all are going to, the ball is going to stop bouncing and you're going to have to go into the workplace. Fit is very important. And I find that when I was in the workplace and I would interview people, people would never ask questions to me as the interviewer about how they felt about the fit for themselves, and they just felt like the interview was one-sided. And so fit is very important, because if you don't fit, and that's in any circle, right? Why be there? So that's a key point. So let me ask this. Other than the player that you all have already mentioned, in terms of who you kind of modeled your basketball behind, if you could play one-on-one with any player, who would you pick? Noah.
Tracy McGrady,
Why?
definitely Tracy. He's like 6'9", and Kobe said that he's the hardest player he had to play against. So I'm based
Oh,
off that.
oh, that's a great reason to do it. That means he gonna elevate your game. Cause okay, Marquita. Other than Magic Johnson,
Well, if I could play somebody, oh, that's a great question. So if it was right now, I would try my hand to get my ankles broke with Caitlin Clark. But if it's back then, I would try. I would want to play one on one with Cheryl Miller, because to me that's my goat. I mean, honestly, shout out to Cheryl Miller. So when they say the greatest ever, that's my goat, and her time is before everything blew up. But past Cheryl, present. I mean, I got it. Like, go ahead and see if you really can pull up on me from half court, because I'm gonna foul you, but it's all good.
and Kyle.
To me, it'll probably be two people. It'll be James Harden. I just want to see, he's probably the best lefty, in the to ever play off, definitely offensively for sure. So I would love to see what, the tactics and everything, how it is, guard him in real life, see how that is. And then my second would be, it's probably not a lot of people know that, but it'd be Keith Applin. He actually from Detroit. He played at Michigan State for like 4 years. He was crazy in high school. I think he was a McDonald's All-American and everything. And he, from what I've seen and watching him at Michigan State and all that, it would, the way he controlled the game and all that was always special for me to watch at height. And so I would, he was definitely one of my favorite college players to watch growing up. So I would say those two most definitely.
Okay, Morgan.
I think this question is kind of hard for me, but I guess I would want to play against somebody like my age, so probably like Angel Reese, just to see how my game matches up to hers, because we're the same age, just on different levels. So
That's a great player. Angel Reese going to the Chicago Sky, my hometown, her in Cardosa. I'm so excited. I can't wait. Okay. So when you think about the highest award that you received playing basketball, the highest accolade that you received. Think about how you felt when you received that accolade and describe to us how you felt. Marquita.
So I would still have to say the highest was this basketball. And at the time, I, when things happen, and you're in it, you don't appreciate it, right? I was like, yeah, I know I'm the best. Okay, moving on, right? Like, but at the time, you don't really appreciate it. But in retrospect, I was like, wow, you're when you're working towards it, you're just in it. And if the accolades come, you don't really sit in it or whatever. But to look back on it now and know that there's still not a public school player from Detroit as a female that has won the award, I'm like, wow, it's actually a humbling experience, and that led into being inducted into the Detroit Hall of Fame. And again, it was very humbling, right? Because like I said, you really don't appreciate it until you look back on what was accomplished.
Okay. Noah.
I say it's probably my junior year high school. It was a Naismith all state team. And the reason it was so important is because my sophomore year I played varsity, and I probably had a solid talent, but like I say, the mental, I averaged 2 points my sophomore year, and then my junior year I jumped to 16. So and it was like, if you know Georgia hoops, it's some good players came out of my class. So just being on that stage and just award just showed, like, firstly that God is real. That what I was doing was taking care of itself as long as I trust God and work hard. It showed that anything was possible. So it kind of gave me that confidence in my faith, and then just confidence on the court too. Just like I say, high level players. It just is real motivating. It gets the competitive fire in you going. Just see what else you can conquer.
Okay. Kyle.
I say just this past year, I received first team all conference, and then my head coach ended up telling me I was 2 votes shy of player of the year of the conference, and I would only say that just because I played this whole last year with 2 torn meniscuses, so I needed knee surgery the whole year, throughout the whole year, and so I heard it like probably a week before practice, and so I missed the first 5 games of the season. I was thinking about red shirting, but I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't do another. I ain't feel like doing a whole another college season, all that for my 6th year. So I was like, I'm gonna just thug it out. So I ended up playing on it for that whole year and everything. And so once after I got that award, it just felt like everything was worth it, and it kind of verify my idea, of playing and not, getting the surgery and sitting out for a whole year. It pretty much, it all just came into fruition, and so that's why I say just past year.
Okay, thug it out. I like thugging it out. Sometimes we have to do it, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, not one, but 2 torn meniscus. Yeah, that was Thug Life on a whole nother level. Kudos.
Yeah, appreciate
And
it.
Morgan.
I think my senior year when I got the Charlotte Area Captains Award, and it just meant a lot to me because it meant that people could see my leadership on the court without being in the locker room, without like knowing all the background stuff. They could just see it from watching me play. And ultimately, I led our team to the state championship. So it just meant a lot to me because I've always been one of them players that's not really leading by. I'm not the leading scorer. I'm not the leading rebounder, but I'm still a leader. I'm still doing my part.
Okay.
So
And
what I'll say to that, can I just say something to that? Is
absolutely.
this is going to be great for you later on. You might not be leading in any of those categories, but you're leading in impact. And that's really what it's all about. And that's really what's going to translate huge for you, like later on in life. Like you said, you want to be a coach. A coach is going to have to impact the player. So that's awesome.
Yes, absolutely. So time has gone by really quickly. And I want to give Kyle a chance to shout out his podcast. Kyle, you want to tell us about your podcast?
Yeah, so I got a, podcast. We film pretty much everything. We just in the editing process right now. It's gonna be. I've been working on that for the last, few weeks. Me and one of my older teammates. It's called Fact Checkers. It'll be dropping soon, like very, very soon. So be on the lookout for that. It's a lot of just funny barbershop debate topics. Whatever that you'll talk about. Music, entertainment, football, sports, basketball, all that kind of things, acting. So it's just a little bit of everything that everybody can relate to, not just one certain demographic or what certain group. So it's something for everybody. Everybody can listen and have some good laughs with it. So that'll be coming out very soon.
Okay, thank you. And Morgan, what would you like to shout out?
Um, I'll shout out my parents because I know they're both watching. So
And you don't want no trouble, right?
yeah.
Okay, Noah.
I'm gonna shout out my parents' college, Valdosta State, the real VSU.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to say that one more time because there's some Virginia State people on this line, and he over here faking. His mama then told him to say that he's shouting out the real VSU, Valdosta State University down in Georgia. Ain't nobody thinking about that little fake school. We know the real VSU is in Petersburg, the orange and blue. And Marquita, you want to tell people how they can contact you for a mortgage loan?
Yes, yes. So Hoop Dreams, the Mortgage Queen. You can find me at queenofmortgages.com. Just Google that and I'll show up. If you need to buy or refi a house around the DMV, I'm the one to serve you. So, and you can also find me on Facebook at Queen of Mortgages as well.
All right. Well, thank you all so very much. I really enjoyed this conversation. Y'all dropped some great nuggets to be ballers. You all are doing it. And I'm so proud of each and every one of you. I say, keep your head up, keep going forward, do your thing. And as you all have said, don't get complacent. Consistency is key. And just be prepared for whatever it is that God has for you. So stand by for me. And I want to talk about it is time to talk about what the hell. I don't know if you all have heard the story about the young black male who slapped his teacher not once, but twice. And she showed a great deal of restraint. And I don't even know if it was fear or if she was concerned about holding on to her job, but she did not do what a lot of us think we would do. So when I heard about the story yesterday, I immediately went to look it up and I was horrified. I'm like, what the hell? What in the hell is going on with these kids? Why are the parents not parenting these kids? Why did this young man think it was okay to slap a female, to slap the teacher? What are these school systems doing? What are the politicians doing to protect our educators? Like, what the hell? I'm thinking to myself, what in the world? I was thinking, if that had been me, it probably would have been on and popping, and it probably would have went down. And I'm thinking, what the hell? We have to do better by our educators. We have to pay our educators more. We have to protect them at all costs. And then when you think about the fact that these politicians are talking about arming these teachers with guns, imagine if this teacher would have had a gun and this young man slapped her twice. He slapped her so hard the second time her glasses fell off. So imagine if she would have had a gun. Then his mama would have wanted to be up at the school talking about she didn't have to shoot and kill him. His mother would have wanted to be up at the school talking about she was wrong. We have to do better by our kids. These kids have to be held accountable. So I will leave you with this. What the hell? Thank you all for joining me. I certainly appreciated you all's support. I hope you enjoyed the panel, and I will say to you, have a great night. Thank you for joining and participating in Let's Get Into It. I want to thank my special guest for being brave enough to get into it. Without you, these conversations cannot happen. Remember, different viewpoints, respect, and love are the foundations of Let's Get Into It. If there's a topic you think I should discuss, drop me a recommendation. If you're interested in being my special guest, let me know, because we can and will get into it. Have a great day on purpose, and I look forward to your continued engagement and support as we get into it.